Welcome. In today's session, we are going to look at the Cubital Fossa. And by the end of this session, you should know the boundaries of the Cubital Fossa, the contents of the Cubital Fossa, and we look at the cubital anastomosis. So welcome all. My name is Wallace Munyere, and I'm the Daktari. So Cubital Fossa. Cubital Fossa is a triangular hollow on the front of the elbow, which corresponds to the popliteal fossa of the lower limb. Remember, the popliteal fossa is on the posterior aspect of the knee, but the cubital fossa is on the anterior aspect of the elbow. Why? Because during development of the limbs, remember the upper limb rotates 90 degrees laterally, but the lower limb rotates 90 degrees medially. That's why we have these differences. Now, it is a triangular area which is found between pronator teres. Pronator teres, it forms the medial boundary. Brachioradialis muscle forms the lateral boundary, and the base is formed by an imaginary horizontal line which joins the humeral epicondyles. The roof is formed by the deep fascia of the forearm, which is reinforced on the medial side by the bicipital aponeurosis. Now, in front of the bicipital aponeurosis lies the median cubital vein and the medial antebrachial nerve, or the medial cutaneous nerve of the forearm. Now, the bicipital aponeurosis separates these structures, this and this, from the underlying median nerve and brachial artery. Okay. Now, the floor is formed by two muscles, superiorly by brachialis muscle, inferiorly by supinator muscle, but brachialis forms most of the floor. Now, here we are. You can see it is a triangular hollow. Okay, this is the base formed by an imaginary horizontal line connecting the humeral epicondyles. Then you can see that the medial boundary is formed by the lateral border of pronator teres muscle. Then you can see that the lateral boundary is formed by the medial border of brachioradialis muscle. Sorry, what have I said? Let me repeat that. The medial boundary is formed by the lateral border of pronator teres muscle, and the lateral boundary is formed by the medial border of brachioradialis muscle. Then you can see the floor here is formed by brachialis muscle, and the supinator will form part of the floor here inferiorly. Okay. Now let me remove this for you. Okay. Now the boundaries of the cubital fossa. Now, the lateral boundary is formed by the medial border of brachioradialis muscle. Okay. The medial boundary is formed by the lateral border of pronator teres muscle. The base is by an imaginary horizontal line joining the front of the two humeral epicondyles. The apex is the meeting point of the lateral and the medial boundaries, and is formed where brachioradialis muscle overlaps pronator teres muscle. The floor is formed by two muscles, brachialis in the upper part, supinator in the lower part, but brachialis forms most of the floor is formed by brachialis muscle. Roof is formed by the following structures from superficial to deep: skin, then superficial fascia, which contains the median cubital vein, and the medial antebrachial nerve. Also, you have the lateral antebrachial nerve. Then the deep fascia is strengthened by the bicipital aponeurosis on its medial side. Now, here we are. You can see the median cubital vein. This is your cephalic vein. This is your basilic vein. Together is the basilic vein. Here is the medial antebrachial nerve, or the medial cutaneous nerve of the forearm. Remember, they will pierce the deep fascia at the level of insertion of coracobrachialis muscle. Okay. Then here you can see your lateral antebrachial nerve, or the lateral cutaneous nerve of the forearm. Okay, and its terminal branches. These are the terminal branches of medial cutaneous nerve of the forearm. Okay. Then here you can see the base. B is base, an imaginary horizontal line connecting the front of the two humeral epicondyles. Then the lateral boundary is formed by the medial border of brachioradialis muscle here. Then the The medial boundary is formed by the lateral border of pronator teres muscle here. Then here you can see your bicipital aponeurosis here. Okay, and it will separate these structures, the median cubital vein and the medial antebrachial nerve, from the underlying median nerve and brachial artery. Okay, then these are the contents. Okay, let's look at the contents now. Contents of the cubital fossa. Now, from medial to lateral, the structures are arranged as follows. Use this mnemonic: MBBS. M from median nerve, B brachial artery, then the other B biceps brachii tendon, then the S is superficial radial nerve. Now, median nerve, it usually leaves the first. Remember, the median nerve at first it will lie in the axilla. It lies lateral to the brachial artery, but at the level of insertion of brachialis muscle, it will cross the artery from lateral to lie medial to it. Okay, and here, as you can see here, it is medial to brachial artery. Then it will usually leave the cubital fossa by passing between the two heads of pronator teres, and within the cubital fossa, you can see it is giving a muscular branch to pronator teres muscle. Then you can see here the brachial artery, which usually terminates in the fossa at the level of the neck of radius. It will divide into radial artery, line lateral, and ulnar artery, line medial. Okay, then radial artery is superficial and leaves the fossa at the apex, where at the apex is where the brachioradialis muscle overlaps pronator teres muscle. Then ulnar artery passes deep to the deep head of pronator teres muscle. Then we have the biceps brachii tendon here, which passes backwards and laterally, as you can see, to be inserted into the radial tuberosity. Labeled in 6 is your biceps brachii tendon. Then radial nerve, here is your radial nerve here, radial nerve. Then you can see at this level, it is dividing. We have this pin. You can see it is dividing into a superficial radial nerve and this other one, deep radial nerve. Now, the superficial radial nerve, usually lie under the curve of brachioradialis muscle. Then the deep radial nerve pierces supinator muscle. Okay. Or let's go back here. Here I want you to see this is your brachialis forming the floor. Okay. Then this is your lateral cutaneous nerve of the forearm, a continuation of your musculocutaneous nerve. Okay. Same here. In fact, here is where you can see them clearly. You can see that this is your median nerve, giving a muscular branch to pronator teres. This is your brachial artery, dividing to the level of the neck of radius. It will divide into radial artery and ulnar artery. Ulnar artery will pass. This is the deep head of pronator teres, or the ulnar head of pronator teres. You can see it is passing deep to it. Then it is giving off here, number 21, the common interosseous artery. From the common interosseous artery, it will give rise to the anterior interosseous and the posterior interosseous. Here you can see the anterior interosseous. Okay. Then here you can see another branch which is moving like upwards towards the elbow to participate in the cubital anastomosis. That is your ulnar recurrent artery. Then you can also see a branch from the radial artery which is moving upwards to participate in the anastomosis around the elbow. That is your radial recurrent artery. Then here you can see the radial nerve, its terminal branches. Here you can see the superficial radial nerve and your deep radial nerve. Okay. The same here. Now this is your biceps tendon. Okay. You can see your spinator. Maybe you can pause the video here to clearly see. Okay. Here you can see the ulnar artery. After passing deep to the deep head of pronator teres, it will lie under the cover of flexor digitorum superficialis, alongside with the ulnar nerve lying on the ulnar side of the muscle, or on the medial side of the artery. Sorry. Okay, the same here. Maybe these images are just for you to further understand. You can see here your bicipital aponeurosis. It is separating the median cubital vein and the medial antebrachial nerve from these underlying structures, the median nerve and the brachial artery. So cubital anastomosis, it is an arterial anastomosis around the elbow, which takes place between brachial artery and the upper ends of ulnar and radial arteries. So for easy remembering of this anastomosis, it is divided into the following. There are some arteries which will form an anastomosis in front and behind the lateral epicondyles. Others will form anastomosis in front and behind of the medial epicondyle. Others will form anastomosis above the olecranon fossa. So, which arteries form anastomose in front of medial epicondyle? The inferior ulnar collateral artery and a branch from the superior ulnar collateral, these are branches from the brachial artery, will anastomose with the anterior ulnar recurrent artery, okay, which is a branch from ulnar artery. Then, which will anastomose behind the medial epicondyle? The superior ulnar collateral artery and a branch from the inferior ulnar collateral artery. Those are branches from brachial artery, will anastomose with the posterior ulnar recurrent artery. Now, which arteries will anastomose in front of the lateral epicondyle? The radial collateral artery, which is a branch from the profunda brachii artery. And remember, profunda brachii is a branch from the brachial artery. Will anastomose with the radial recurrent artery, a branch from the radial nerve, radial artery, sorry. Which will anastomose behind the lateral epicondyle? The posterior descending artery, which is like the terminal branch of profunda brachii, will anastomose with the interosseous recurrent artery. Interosseous recurrent artery is from the posterior interosseous artery. And remember, posterior interosseous artery is a branch from the common interosseous artery, and the common interosseous artery is a branch from the ulnar artery. Okay. Now, which will anastomose above the olecranon fossa? The middle collateral artery, which is a branch from the profunda brachii, and profunda brachii initially came from your brachial artery, with anastomose with the transverse branch of the posterior division of inferior ulnar collateral artery. Inferior ulnar collateral artery is a branch from the brachial artery. Okay, so let me show you in a diagram to make this easy. Okay, here we have your brachial artery. After crossing the lower border of teres major muscle, it will change name from axillary to brachial. Now, here is the profunda brachii. Okay. Now, from the profunda brachii, we'll have your radial collateral here, okay, and your middle collateral. Now, middle collateral, you can see here above the olecranon fossa here, post in phantom. You can see that it is somehow in phantom. It is back there. It is, you can see it is anastomosing with the transverse branch from the, you can see this is the inferior ulnar collateral from the, now we have a transverse branch from the posterior division of inferior ulnar collateral. Okay, then you can see in front of the lateral epicondyle, you can see the radial recurrent artery anastomosing with the radial collateral artery. Then you can see in front of the medial epicondyle, you can see that there is a branch from the inferior ulnar collateral anastomosing with the anterior ulnar recurrent artery. Then you can see behind the medial epicondyle, we have a branch from the superior ulnar collateral and also from the posterior division of inferior ulnar collateral anastomosing with the posterior ulnar recurrent artery. Now these are the ones which be now this is the cubital anastomosis. Now imagine this anastomosis is important. Why? Because if there is, say, occlusion of the artery, let's say we occlude the artery at this level, blood will still reach this level. Why? Because it will use these alternative routes. Okay, it can use the alternative routes. So if we have an occlusion here, blood will use the alternative routes. Okay, so and also you can see here, also here at the posterior, now behind the on the posteriors, at the back of lateral humeroepicondyle, you can see that the recurrent interosseous artery is anastomosing also with the middle collateral artery. Okay. Maybe okay. Well. Now I think that was that, and thank you for your attention, and please subscribe for more anatomy and biochemistry content. Thank you.